Welcome back, Vicarious viewers. My name is Vicente, and today we're moving on to episode 3 of season 2 of Mindhunter. Let's see, the Netflix description of this one says Bill gets drawn into a horrifying crime that hits close to home. Holden receives an intriguing offer while in Atlanta to interview a pair of killers. Now, Bill getting drawn into a horrifying crime that hits close to home, that makes me think of the detective that came to his house and informed his wife that a body was found in one of her properties that she was representing for sale. Um, so yeah, crime hitting close to home. I wonder if this is going to be either related to one of their current cases like BTK, or if this is just going to be something completely separate. And Holden receiving an intriguing offer to interview a pair of killers. Offhand, I can't think of any, pairs of killers. At least nothing famous that I can think of. Besides, Bonnie and Clyde, but they died. They were never in captivity. I don't know what that could be. So we'll see what that is. Or maybe if it's two of the girls that followed Charles Manson, because they did mention Manson at one point, but I mean, he had followers, so what about them? I wonder if they're at play in this at all. Last episode was pretty interesting. They got to interview the son of Sam, and he had some interesting insights. He showed them that even if they try to manipulate the public narrative, what they want the world to perceive them as, it doesn't always necessarily mean that that's what they're thinking and what's driving them underneath. He gave the whole I was forced by demons. They were talking to me through the walls and through the neighbor's dog and all of that. But in reality, he was just trying to rationalize it to the public, his base desires to murder. And he also was really apprehensive about the world perceiving that this was a sex crime. He was very adamant that there was nothing sexual about this. So he did nothing sexual during the crime, but he admitted to coming afterwards and masturbating at the crime scenes. So there is still the sexual element, he just doesn't want people to know about it. Like they said when they were talking afterwards, he considers himself to not be a sex pervert, but an inspired genius. I think that's what she said about him. Oh, sorry. Got a friend request, and I was like, "Who is this?" And apparently, it's a friend of the family. But anyway, um, where was I? Oh yeah, I was happy that Wendy has been eyeing the bartender at the local bar and got the confirmation that this bartender is batting for her team, so to say. She did turn down those gentlemen at the bar that were constantly hitting on her. Honestly, that could have just been a diversion to kind of scoot them away, be like, boys, don't hit on me. I get it every night. I'm a lesbian. Shoo. But that seems something more likely today, where it's more acceptable. I think lying about that kind of thing would be a lot more risky because in that time it was less acceptable to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, the whole spectrum. Um, so I don't think that she would lie about that. But I was saying, maybe opposites attract. Will they complement each other? Would their differences cause turbulence in a relationship? You never quite know. Maybe a mix of both. I mean, no relationship is perfect. But I'd like to see Wendy find a little bit of happiness with someone. She's seems always so serious at work, trying to cover up for the mistakes of Holden and sometimes Tench. Like, she's very orderly. We need to maintain the integrity of the study. when you are very like scientifically minded, it is all about consistency, because inconsistencies can lead to arguments against their findings, and that's never good. So I can see her view on everything coming from an academic. You need consistency. You need order when you're trying to find answers, and then legitimately use those answers in real world situations. But yeah, I hope she finds some happiness, and I hope Holden and Tench stop giving her grief. We didn't get any of their new director last episode. I don't think he was there at all. But when will he rear his head again? Will it be anytime soon, or will it be once they finally do fuck up again, which I'm sure they're bound to do. Holden did seem a little meek at the beginning of their interview with Son of Sam, but he was definitely getting back into the swing of things halfway through. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It definitely gave us some of the more interesting conversation with the Son of Sam, but will he again lead into cringy territory that the others have to deal with? But yeah, that's all I can recall so far that I wanted to talk about. If you do want to see my completely unedited reaction to Season 2 of Mindhunter, or any of the Disney Plus Marvel series like WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Loki, I also have some movies on there like Army of the Dead and the new Mortal Kombat. Head on over to my Patreon. It's just $5 to get access to my full unedited reactions. I really do appreciate all of your support, and I'm very grateful. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this episode.
I just can't get it out of my head. A dead body in my first listing. Can you please take my name and number off?
Well,
make a phone call.
The killer already saw it if it was already there. There's no use in taking it down now. The only ones that are going to see it are the cops.
I don't know if I caught something from the kid or food poisoning.
Really lying?
Was up all night. Yep.
Don't worry about it, I'll go.
Alone?
Yeah.
I don't know, Holden.
I'm fine. I know what I'm doing.
I'll interview Pierce
Do
and
you?
come down tomorrow.
Jim Barney will be at the airport.
He interviewed for Greg's position.
Oh yeah, the black guy you like.
Are they replacing Greg, or are they going to hire someone else?
Bill was in your corner, you know.
Why would he give you an update on his caseload? Are you in the bureau?
Already did that. And hands.
How much is he sharing with this guy? Is that allowed? I'm not remembering, like, did he say what his current profession is? Or where he works?
Got it. You've been here all night.
Do you have a second?
Sure.
I'm not sure if this is, like, conflict of
We
interest.
used the code your wife gave us to open the lockbox, but there were no keys in it.
I mean, since his, like, wife, like, direct family is linked to the crime scene, I don't think this is legally appropriate. Correct me if I'm wrong.
On a cross.
That's why he was so shaken last episode.
Oh, Bill, no!
Why'd you tell her?
You
Don't
do?
tell
Yes,
her.
from church. You knew too. He's an angel.
Well, I guess she would have found out eventually, but I wouldn't want to be the one to tell her.
On the new carpet? No. Did they have to break a window to get in?
No.
Not the
refusing from the
the new carpet's not the appropriate thing to think of, but I guess you realized that right away.
Our goal is to publish a statistical analysis which will not include your name. Does that sound
Wait, so he
alright?
brought this guy along? Is he hired?
I ain't sure.
We are talking to people such as yourself.
Such as myself.
Maniacs,
A
psychopaths.
lot of people such as myself. I ain't half from whole-witted. I speak 7 languages, you know.
No, I didn't know that.
Spanish, German, French, Russian, Libyan, and Apache.
That's 6.
I
English.
speak 7.
And English.
English?
Bingo. Can't talk about 7 murders, 'cause I ain't done 7 murders neither.
I see.
How many murders have you
The
done?
waitress, Kathy.
I ain't murdered any waitress.
Junior, you confessed to all 3 of those.
Erogenously.
Erogenously?
Wrongly.
It's right here in your confession.
Can't help it.
Erroneously.
Why confess? You can't confess to crimes and then turn around and say you didn't commit them.
Erroneously.
No, you can't.
Right?
Yes, I can.
Now I'm second guessing myself.
I see what you're getting at.
And this guy's just giving him the hate eye the entire time. They don't like each other.
He said I was continent to stand trial. I was intimated.
Intimate.
Why are you always repeating my words?
Because they don't make
You
sense.
have a very impressive vocabulary, and I don't
Is
always
it?
understand your colloquialisms.
Are you eating right now?
You want one?
Love one. We go back to whatever you want. As long as you got more of these.
You told the police where to find the bodies.
Yes, sir.
How'd you know where to go?
I'm clairvoyant. Use my psychic magnet.
Clairvoyant?
Telepathy. I turn up my 6th sense. I help them families.
He wants to feel special. He wants to feel smart. Like he knows other things that people around him don't know.
She called me a moron. Wow.
She wasn't far off. Sounds practically a 7-Eleven. They tipped his hand, he's gonna swing.
Don't go running in the street. Jesus, fuck.
City doesn't provide the same level of services to all neighborhoods.
Running in the middle of the street is still not a good thing to do in front of a car, no matter where you are. So is he an agent? Just like in a different department?
Special agent for FBI.
May I?
Oh, yes.
She's surprised.
Credit card.
Right. Sorry. In the key card. You know, we should I should probably go up with you. Just to check, this way you don't have to come all the way back down.
That's okay, I don't.
She is suddenly unnerved. Either he makes her nervous, or she has something to tell him. Why are you lingering?
Good night.
But you wanted to say...
Thank you.
I thought she was going to try to tell him something. Why would she be so, like, nervous suddenly? Just wanting to, like, impress the service? Oh, here we go. She was hesitant to say, but now she's working up the courage. She can't be hitting on him, can she? He's ready for it. Something tells me she has something on her mind that she needs to tell him.
The AC doesn't work. You wanna let the window down?
Sure.
I know how that is. The AC in my car only works for the passenger side, so I have to close off those vents and try to aim them, and then even then it's not that great.
How long have you been studying multiple murders?
Well, she only found that out recently. She got nervous as soon as he said, I'm part of the FBI.
He's sitting in the back there. I'll make you a plate and bring it over to you.
She lured him there for something. Why all the cloak and dagger?
Sorry, we're late.
Is that the FBI we've been waiting to meet?
Yes, ma'am. This is Special Agent.
I tricked him here, thinking this was a date.
Special Agent
Holden.
So you heard. It's been happening here in Atlanta.
Haven't heard a damn thing.
Not for lack of trying. What is it you do, Special Agent Ford of the FBI?
Well, Holden is with a very important office.
How old are you, Agent Ford?
I'm almost 30.
It won't do us any good. No one will listen to him. Thank you for coming here, Agent Ford.
No one will listen to me.
Please.
You have someone listening right
That's
now.
my daughter.
If no one's listening to it all, I don't think you can be very selective. Beggars can't be choosers.
Our children are dying.
I'd like to help.
I should have told you where we were going. Thought maybe you wouldn't want to come with me.
No, nothing to be sorry about.
I thought you guys were in Atlanta.
Got a bug. He said he could handle it.
Do you think you should be in the field alone?
I do.
No.
This will be good. Rip off the Band-Aid.
Really think testing Holden's emotional equilibrium right now is necessary?
And lying to your colleagues is troublesome.
Were you at all worried the police might trace this stationery back to you?
No, because I told him not to worry about it.
Don't put any stock in this stationery from the base. Anybody could get their hands on it. Thank you, Mr. Hance. You certainly helped me clarify.
I mean, it's a stretch to connect these through evidence.
You don't think it's unusual to have this many juvenile murders so close together?
These kids, sadly, they don't represent a blip. To be honest, I don't see a link in these cases.
We're finding MOs
Very
are
different.
most consistent with serial killers, and we have to look at victim type as a marker.
If you're looking for a monster, it's poverty.
Waste of time.
It was fairly obvious that you lost interest during both interviews.
Can't we just find more articulate subjects?
Pierce.
They can't all be geniuses who murder.
He claims he didn't notice he killed outside his race, which we know is highly unusual. And what are the essential characteristics that place Hans and Hickman in the same group?
We're both soldiers.
I have to meet up with Nancy.
Date night?
Good insight.
Something like that.
Whoever has the time to light that many candles before taking a bath? It always seems like an inconvenience. Going back to see the bartender.
So what does one do for fun around here? Is there a place for us?
Are you looking for a tour guide or a date?
A date.
A date.
Aww. Shoot your shot, girl. Go for it. Oh my god, I really have to use the bathroom. I will be right back. Oh no, don't play the next episode. I did not mean to do that. Ooh. Okay, I'm back. I really needed to go to the bathroom at the end of that. But, yeah, good episode. I am so happy that Wendy asked the bartender out. She deserves a little happiness in her bleak life. But yeah, a lot of interesting things. I will say I was disappointed that we did not get any more of BTK, Mr. Park City. He was devoid of this episode. It looks like they're going to drag their feet on that one here too, and they're going to give us some detours. Not to say that the detours themselves aren't interesting, but come on, give us the meat. But yeah, we did get to meet this other guy that they had interviewed for Greg's position. I forget his name now, but I'm sure I'll remember it later or in editing. But at first I was all like, why is Tench, like, divulging all this information to him? Like, what is his current position? Like, should he be involved like this? Like, but it kind of makes sense now that I think about it. Because, like, I would assume that any of the people that they were interviewing for the position would already be in the agency. Because, I mean, to become an FBI agent itself is a grueling task. They wouldn't interview, like, someone outside of the agency, because then they would have to go through the entire process of becoming an agent first. So yeah, it makes sense they would be in the agency. So yeah, right up front I was all like, why are they giving all this information to him and divulging all of these, like, things? It's still, I don't know if it is still questionable. Like, what department is he currently in? Like, is this taking away from any of his current caseload? Like, who is his supervisor? Like, is he okay with this? So that still offers some questions. But at least it is good to know that he is an agent. So it's they should be able to trust him with this information. Not to dismiss Greg entirely, though. Like Holden said, he has his good and his not so good. But he did have a good insight. Like, you have to look at things besides race in why people are choosing their victims. In this case, like, he had a victim that was white that didn't fit, but was also a soldier, which was the same as one of the previous ones. Like mentioning that one of Kemper's victims was not white, but also a co-ed. So there were those linked characteristics outside of just race. Then we get into some race relations between law enforcement and the African American community, with Holden being introduced to these mothers of some children that were murdered. And it did seem pretty suspicious and underhanded that the teller, the front desk worker at the hotel, would kind of invite him to go out. I mean, it could be conceived as under false pretense, making it think like it's a date. I think that's what Holden was thinking it was. But then being like, surprise, here, I'm going to introduce you to some more workload. Situationally, I can see how she would feel the necessity to kind of trick him in that sense, because if they have been dismissed entirely and outright by every other agency, like, who's to say that he wouldn't have just said no right up front if she offered? I don't think he would have said no, but she couldn't have known that. But I did know right away when he gave her his ID and she knew FBI, that all of a sudden, like, her entire mood changed. I was like, okay, she has something to tell him. Then going to the dinner, he was a little like deer in the headlights, but he seemed receptive. One of the mothers was a little rude, like dismissing him like, how old are you? Like, don't make that kind of generalization towards him when he's here and able to listen to you now, when you have been the victim of other people's generalizations yourself because of maybe the color of your skin. It's not always constructive to generalize, no matter who you are. And even if you feel like people have generalized you, it's not fair to generalize others. It's not going to help your case. But it did seem like they were working together, and that's what they need to do. They need to be able to speak with another and trust one another if they want to move forward. It was surprising to hear the other guy, the one that didn't get Greg's job, to be like, you met with them? Like, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And at first I was like, wow, I didn't expect him to, like, shy him away from this case. But then more details come to light, and you see it is more complicated than that. These are all young African-American boys, but all of the murders are very different. If there isn't a link in the way they died, the way they were murdered, then it is harder to legally justify a link in who is killing them, because usually serial murderers are stringed along by their signatures, not only like who they kill, but also how they kill them. Like the BTK killer is the BTK killer because he will bind, torture, and then kill all of his victims. That is a very tricky situation. It's like, how do you make the leap that all of these are the same person if they weren't killed the same way? And the hotel worker did seem very disappointed when he was trying to make assurances to her. It was like she'd heard all of this before. That is a tricky situation, because it's like, well, he does have his own workload doing other things for his division, which is very specialized in speaking with people who have already committed their crimes, versus her wanting someone to investigate the current crime. That is a tough situation right there. Because, I mean, he can't drop everything and investigate a current crime, because that's technically not his job right now, and that's not what she wants to hear or needs to hear. But reality is usually disappointing. But yeah, so much happened in this episode. There was a lot. But again, it shied away from BTK. Where are we going to get more of him involved? This is only the third episode, but I wonder if we will see some of him next episode. What did you think of this episode? What do you think of these interesting dynamics that they've put into play now? Let me know in the comments down below. And hit like and subscribe if you enjoy reactions like these. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single one. And thanks for stopping in for this Vicarious View.